Dear Diary, might be starting to enter a wee rough patch here at Banbridge Town. We bounced back well from our first loss, but then got knocked out of the Mid-Ulster Cup in the quarters by a team in the division above us, after we staged a late comeback that came up short. No shame in that, but we also slipped up last time out, at home in the league, and a game we should have got something out of. Right smack bang in mid-table for now. Hopefully we can turn this around and end up in the championship group come the end of the regular season. Also, one of the players we got in on loan is getting a wage off us, so I made a huge mistake there. Hopefully he proves himself worthy of that money. Very interesting match coming up next as we take on Dundela in the third round of the League Cup. They turned me down after giving me a job interview when I first came over here, so hopefully we can prove them wrong and keep going in the cup. It's not all bad. If I got that job, who knows if I'd have met Teddy. It's time to turn this form around. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of FMOE here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well and coming up today with Banbridge Town. We take on Dundela in the job interview derby. Might need a better name for that one, but nonetheless this was the other team that we did have a job interview with in the first episode of this save, and we are taking them on in the third round of the Northern Irish League Cup. So if you are looking forward to that in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but hopefully that introduction gave you a good recap of what has happened since the last episode at the end of last week when we did take on the Ballymacash Rangers. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. We have slipped up a little bit more recently, bounced back initially, only really losing one game that I'd say we would be expected to win. That was that most recent one in the league against Queen's University Belfast, who are below us on the table, and we did dominate that game quite a bit as well, so that was a little bit of a disappointing result there. In the Mid-Ulster Cup, we did lose to a team in the division above us, so we gave a good account there, even though we did go down 3-0 early. And that game away at Limavady United, as well as that game against Lochgall, I think is how you might pronounce that one. Apologies if that is not the case, but we did go with a low block for those two games just to see if that would work out. Actually, we also used it in that Mid-Ulster Cup first round, and we have switched back to a mid-block now. Just think that attacking-wise wasn't really working out for us in those games as much as I would hope, especially in those two games against Limavady United and Lochgall, as those were teams who are a bit better than what we took on the first time we did try the low block against the Rectory Rangers, who are a team who are not in a playable league here in Northern Ireland. So we have gone back to the tactic which we were using anyway in the last couple of episodes. It's been really good in terms of goal scoring, but as you can see there, goals conceded is a little bit average, so maybe we're going to need to tinker with our defence coming up over the next few games off the back of the one that we do play in today's episode. Might be something I do off camera. Maybe we try and narrow our defensive width or something like that. We'll see, because just think our defence at the moment is what is letting us down, but still going pretty well when you do consider where we were expected to finish when we did take this job on in the first episode, and that was off the back, of course, of Dundela rejecting us after a job interview. Of course, Paul Trainer is their manager, still gazing lovingly over to his left-hand side. Not sure exactly what he's looking at in this situation. The other day, it was the Dundela badge, but as you can see, they're actually in quite a good run of form, even though they are in 8th there on the second division, the championship table here in Northern Ireland. Obviously, this is a really good chance for us here to maybe prove Dundela wrong and maybe show we do have the capacity, or at least ability, to be managing in a higher division if we can upset them here in the Northern Irish League Cup. This is certainly a game we do come into as the outsiders, but we have beaten teams like this already this season in some of the other cup competitions, most notably back in the second round of this League Cup, where we did take on Harland and Wolf Welders and beat them 3-2 away from home. And also, even though we did go down quite heavily early, that most recent cup game in the Mid-Ulster Cup against Lochgall, we did run those guys close as well. So certainly I think we do have the ability to push teams in the championship if we do play up to our best. So hopefully that is the case today, even though it is an away trip as we do take on Dundela, and we'll come back shortly and get into the action, as I said in the job interview derby from Wilga Park, Banbridge Town taking on Dundela. And here are the team sheets for this third round game in the League Cup here in Northern Ireland. There are Dundela playing the exact same formation as we are, but obviously higher tier and in quite good form. We've made a few changes, Swan and Anderson at the back. The midfield, McCavitt is also in there in the midfield. He actually decided to stay here despite the fact he was under transfer bid when we left things at the end of last episode. And also one of our lone goalkeepers in Brady will get a start here in the cup competition. And hopefully we can perform well here and keep our League Cup run going. And 15 minutes into this one, we have our first highlight. We start off here with a goal kick to Dundela. They are in the green, we are in the black with the white shorts and the red socks. We've actually started this game off quite nicely. 5 shots to 1 early, so hopefully we can continue to get on top of these guys here and maybe put a little bit of pressure on them. We try and play a long ball forward over the top there, but their goalkeeper does take that fairly comfortably. We did make a few changes. As you would have noticed coming into this game, that was ones that were suggested by the assistant manager. Great English there, Shaun, but they might hopefully work now. Lovely ball there from Convey for McCavitt. Stephen McCavitt, his 8th goal of the season. He is proving to be such a good striker for us, even though he is the deep lying forward alongside Conway, who is supposed to be the more attacking striker. But a lovely pass there from his strike partner and dinks that over the goalkeeper. It's a brilliant start for us here in these opening 15 minutes, and we take a 1-0 lead away from home. And 10 minutes off the back of that opening goal, we are now down the other end here as Dundela do have a throw-in, and it's Fearon who is on the ball. We'll play that one back to McGee. They play a long ball over the top there, but thankfully Steels does deal with that. A little bit iffy there. I thought we might get possession back, but now Faulkner is on the ball. It's a little bit messy there. Down the left-hand side, what is Brady doing there? He could have easily stopped that ball coming into the mixer for some reason. Dove down to his right instead of to his left. And that looked like a goal which was fairly easily preventable, but nonetheless Dundela have grabbed an equaliser. Just not really sure what the goalkeeper's doing there, to be honest, and it's a simple tap in there for Igahon, and he levels it up at 1-1 coming up to the half-hour mark. And a few minutes shy of half-time, we do have a free kick here for Dundela. Kane tries to put that in the top left corner, but this time Brady does come up with a decent save, which is good, of course, because that previous goal, do feel like he was largely at fault for that one. Quite a messy goal scored from Dundela. They put that ball into the mixer. Steers will head that one away. Faulkner is in possession. Will anything else come from this highlight? No. And it looks like we are going to go into half-time here locked up at 1-1, albeit with about 30 seconds left before we do enter 1 minute of injury time. It is a free kick here. Brady will pump this deep. It gets in behind them there. Conway will square this for Colour. Some great work there from our right winger. He has probably been so far the player of the save. Such a good creative player, still has been off the back of yesterday's episode. And he gets a goal there, and we make it 2-1 right before half-time. Brilliant time to score. Good kick forward there from Brady. The defence misread it. Yet another assist there for Conway. Colour still had a fair bit to do, but as I said, so far probably my favourite player in this Banbridge Town team, and he does give us a 2-1 lead there. Just before half-time, stats are fairly even. XG is actually in favour of Dundela, but we do take a 2-1 lead into the break, and based on the highlights I've seen, I feel like that's actually a fair enough scoreline, because most of the highlights, the more threatening ones that we've seen, it did look like they were in our favour. A few players out there on a 6.4, but off the back of taking the lead, I think we'll make no changes here as we get things back underway. 2-1 up here in the third round of the League Cup. And 10 minutes into the second half, our first highlight is a free kick near enough to the halfway line. Conway there on the ball, having a great game, of course. 2 assists already. We try and play a ball over the top there for Downey, but what this does do is it might give Dundela here a chance to do something on the counter-attack, albeit Cowan. Good foot in there. We hoof it deep, but unfortunately, that ball is quite deep, and Kane is able to tidy things up there for Dundela. They play a ball in behind Igahon. He looks like he's got in behind, takes it around the goalkeeper, but thankfully puts that the wrong side of the post. It remains 2-1 in our favour, but those players who were on average ratings at halftime have not improved, so we are going to make some changes. Snodden will come on for Anderson, and also Downey. I think what we might do here is give Max Fisher a chance off the bench so far. He's been very disappointing when you do consider how good he is supposed to be in on loan, so we'll bring him on. That does mean that Conway can go out to left wing where he is a little bit more natural, and hopefully we can hold on to this lead here for the last half hour or so. And we're 69 minutes in for our next highlight of this one. It is a free kick for Dundela in a dangerous area. They put that far post and Kyle Crawford gets that header through the hands of Brady in goal. That was a change that I did. It wasn't suggested by the assistant manager. He's not having the best game, so maybe I'm going to end up regretting that one. And it is 2-2 here as we do start to enter the last 20 minutes, albeit we do have a free kick here, so hopefully we can strike back nice and quickly like we have done at times this season. Good chance there for Conway on the volley, but just puts that one over the bar. And while we are here, we may as well make a few substitutions as well. Sod J, good left back, but isn't quite performing as well today and over the last few games, to be fair, so Joshua Quinn can come on for him also. The OG Gallagher is on the bench and is a decent upgrade there on McCavitt, so we might bring him on and see if he can help us here in these last 15 minutes or so to try and get a winner here away from home. And we've just entered the last 10 minutes. It's a free kick here from a very similar position to where they scored before Dundela, but thankfully this time Brady does make a decent save, albeit that header was straight at him, albeit that was the case, of course, for that goal, which was previously scored. And here's a chance now for Igahon to get in behind. Brady goes to ground quite quickly. It's a simple ball over the top. Igahon is having a day out in the end. He just looks far too pacey for our defensive line, and they grab the lead here for the first time in this game. Do Dundela. He's just got too much pace there for Snodden and for Quinn, and puts that one away in the bottom left corner. That's probably the best goal they've scored so far in this game, because the other two, a little bit of errors on our side, I feel like, but off the back of that, a chance here for us to equalise. It's a penalty there, a tackle on McCavitt, and I'm not too sure who's on penalties. It's Max Fisher. Can he do something? It's a blimmin' awful penalty straight at Shields. He doesn't follow it up, and that might be our chance gone there to equalise this game. Then another free kick in a dangerous area for Dundela. They put it wide, but that is a big moment there. Fisher with a missed penalty. That might be the last game he plays for us, because he's been blimmin' awful so far. We will up the tempo for these last couple of minutes, but I do feel like we've probably missed our chance there to take this game into extra time from the penalty spot. That is a bad miss from Fisher as we just adjust a few things tactically to try and get something going in these last couple of minutes. There are 3 minutes of added time, but unfortunately nothing is going to work. We had the chance there to take that game to extra time. We missed from the penalty spot, and that means that we have been knocked out here of the League Cup. Not too sure why our XG for that penalty didn't go up that high, because usually it does bump up quite considerably for a penalty. It doesn't look like that was the case, or it happens so late that it doesn't actually show there on the graph. But that is a bit of a hard loss to take. We kind of blew that one late, conceded a few sloppy goals for their first two, and then that third goal, to be fair to them, was a simple long ball over the top. It wasn't a bad performance, but unfortunately definitely a game where we had the chance to beat them. So it's encouraging signs yet again against a team from the division above us, but we probably could have got something out of that game, or at the very least taking it to extra time, especially that missed penalty late on there by Fisher. And we bow out of the League Cup off the back of a 3-2 loss away at Dundela. So we bow out of the League Cup there off the back of a plucky 2-3 loss away at Dundela, but unfortunately Max Fisher there did have a chance to take that game to extra time, but unfortunately his penalty was straight into the path of Shields. Max Fisher so far, very, very disappointing. That might be one of the last few chances he does get here under my management. Probably a player that we won't bring back unless he does find some form in the remainder of the season. But based on his early season form, don't know if he's going to get many more chances with the form of some of the other strikers that we do have here at the club. And also probably stuffed that one up a little myself with that change I did make at the goalkeeping position. Probably should have just stuck with our homegrown guy in Hunter, because Brady didn't have the best game there. If he did have a decent game, I feel like Dundela at the very least wouldn't have got one of those first 2 goals that they did get. But as I said before, it is a team up in the championship, and we didn't do a bad job against them, but unfortunately keeps up a little bit of a recent run that we do have with some narrow defeats. But that will do it For today's episode of FMOE, that does mean that we have now lost our last 3 games and 4 in our last 7, so a little bit of a skid potentially here going on at Banbridge Town, but hopefully we can find some form off the back of this one. We do take part in the Irish Intermediate Cup first round against a team from a non-playable league up next, so that should definitely be a game which we are capable of winning against Suffolk, and off the back of that, hopefully I can adjust some things defensively and we might start to be a little bit more solid at the back. Still quite happy with our goal scoring form for the most part, but defensively we certainly need to tighten things up, and hopefully we can get back on track in the league season in terms of when we'll come back for the next episode. I just think we'll keep seeing how far I can get through off camera, but I suppose the next game, which does catch the eye, is the 4th qualifying round for the Irish Cup. Not too sure exactly who we are playing in that competition yet, but being the Irish Cup, the most prestigious of the cups here in Northern Ireland, I think that might be the one where there's a little bit more prize money attached, hopefully. So that could be a game which is worth coming back for in that 4th qualifying round, and hopefully we can make our way into the Irish Cup proper and get a little bit of a run going in that competition, hopefully, if we can make some defensive improvements. But if you did enjoy today's episode, that narrow loss to Dundela, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. And until tomorrow, as I said, probably for that 4th qualifying round of the Irish Cup. Not too sure exactly who we are playing in that one yet, but until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.